if you're a WoW Andy and you want to give it a shot, I say you have nothing to lose. You're gonna get completely shit on at first because this it's like I said, it's really punishing at first, but the game is free. It takes you like 2 or 3 hours to get to the level where you can actually start PvPing, and you can try it out. It's solo queue. See if you like it. Zero gear stats required to get into, and solo queue ranked. So you don't need any prerequisite. You just get in, get level 26, and you can start pumping. I actually made a slideshow. It's short. Listen, don't make fun of the streamer for making a slideshow, trying to educate and help his WoW friends. Not necessarily move over, but decide whether or not they want to actually give it a shot. If you're a WoW player and you're curious on Lost Ark, obviously the games are very different. How can we compare the two games? How can we compare WoW with a third-person RPG with a top-down 2.5D ARPG game? We can't. Obviously, WoW is very unique, and it doesn't. That's why WoW has no transferable skills. As far as I know, there's no real game that actually compares to WoW in terms of gameplay. But for all the WoW boys and girls that were curious about Lost Ark, whether or not it is for them, this is the presentation. There you go. We're going to talk about team queue in WoW. Obviously, in WoW, ranked is all about team queue. In this game, it's just solo queue. There's no team queue. I'll talk about that. Do we like it? Do we not like it? It depends on the person, I guess. In WoW, it's all about knowledge, strategy, and teamwork. We'll talk about that. In Lost Ark, obviously knowledge applies to every PvP game, but it's more about reactions. It's a zoomer game. You gotta be fast, frame perfect, and counter abilities. And it's a lot more about individual play, meaning if you're good, you can actually carry games. In WoW, at high level, it's kind of, I don't know if it's possible to actually carry games. Yeah, you can make like a sick play, but in this day and age, everybody has 20 million trillion cooldowns. In WoW, you die once and the game's over. In this game, you can die. It's not a big deal. You fucked up. It's fine. You go next and you keep going, and the game's not over until 4 minutes are up, which also, we'll get that. In WoW, I said it's hard to get into and stay competitive. It fits in the start of the season. It's not that hard. Obviously, I think the system's actually pretty good. We'll talk about that. Lost Ark, very easy to get into. There's no catch-up required because it's very fast, and the skill ceiling is actually astronomical. The skill ceiling is way higher than WoW, in my opinion. WoW has better integrated PvP in the game ecosystem, I said, and in this game, it's just pure, separated, the purest form of PvP, how a lot of people want it. You just go in, queue, you're bored of queuing, you leave. And then I said that WoW has infrequent updates that shake the game a little bit, so there's some variety whenever they have a new patch, which is like once a year, but at least this happens. In Lost Ark, there's almost none of that. They do introduce new classes. They said once a month, so that's going to be the only kind of thing. They used to have a lot more often class balances on Korea and Russia, but I think at this point, I don't think our version's going to have too many updates in terms of class balance, because we're just playing on the most balanced one, which is not very balanced. Alright, next up. Alright, solo queue versus team queue. This is obviously pros and cons. In WoW, it's all about team queue. Game is balanced around team queue, and it's balanced around a 3v3, which means it's great because you can play with your friends. If you have more than 2 friends, you get to find out who your best 2 friends are, or you get to find out who plays the rogue and the mage, because that's how you make a team. And you can pick and make whatever comp you want, which is kind of sick. You can kind of fabricate your own teams. The problem with that is there's always a meta. You always play the meta comps, and then the meta evolves. There's teams that come up that counter the meta, and then that becomes the meta, and then the other comps come up, counter the other meta, and then the first one comes along, and everyone realizes at the end of the season that Warlock and Fire Mage is just broken, so everybody just plays that, alongside RMP, of course. The problem with Team Q is you rely on teammates to be online. This is a little better since good old days when you were locked in teams. So you guys remember that, like TBC. That is such a bad system, I think, to be locked in teams. It's kind of good for RP, but it's bad in every other way. You're just locked. You guys know the struggles, just sitting in LFG for hours. That's like the biggest complaint, and That's why a lot of, like Savix and Stoops and myself and other people wanted a solo queue, so you don't have to rely on teammates and just sit there LFG and spam next, refresh. Um, some comps hard counter each other's. This is not necessarily super bad because, like I said, it makes the meta a little more volatile, but I like Lost Ark for that reason more. Boosting is a problem because obviously if you have 3v3 boosting, 3v3, 2 people, boost 1. And then this is a thing that I wasn't aware of until recently. You guys know in WoW you have the same player can fill ladder spots, which is not optimal if you're a competitive player. Let's say I am the best Shadow Priest in the entire galaxy, in the entire world. Maybe I'm exaggerating or maybe I'm not, but let's say I'm the best, right? And let's assume that Shadow Priest is a pretty bad class and it's not very popular and not very represented. Now, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think Shadow Priest is actually really good right now, but let's say that's the case. And most good players have multiple of the same classes because they boost and everything. So at the end of the season, I'll have like top 5 Shadow Priests are gonna be me. And if the Shadow Priest is not a very good class, then guess what? If you play Shadow Priest, you just have no chance. Whereas Lost Ark, solo queue only. I don't know about this one. And every class is individually strong, though some are better. Of course, I put this in brackets because we don't want the Lost Ark Andys to just come in here and say I am wrong and that Paladin is just broken and Bard is OP and Blade is not fair to fight at all. But solo queue only means you can queue whenever you want, as much as you want. Imagine that. You feel like playing some games, you just pop in, easy clap. You don't even have to like farm Torghast. You just queue it up, and when you're bored, you're done. Every class is individually strong, so yes, this is kind of like we had in WoW. Of course, you're gonna have times when your team is gonna have you're gonna have a worse team composition than your enemy. For instance, usually whoever has a support in their team ends up having a better comp in general. It's not a huge difference, but I guess at high level it matters. But I think this complaining, like saying it's not fair because you might end up with bad players or griefers or bad comp. This to me, when people say that, use that argument, to me it screams that you kind of like want to get carried in a way. Isn't it? Don't you have the same percentage of those bad team comps and bad players and everything to be in the other team? Like at the end of the day, if you're a good player, you're gonna climb, right? Like I said, some are better for sure, especially in the like 3v3. Yeah, but at the end of the day, everything is viable. No boosting because you're on your own, except if you do account sharing, which is illegal, by the way. So nobody does illegal stuff in a video game, obviously, so it doesn't exist. And each player gets 1 ladder spot. This is big. I know people are not happy with this one. I'm not sure how to feel about this one. Chat, I'm gonna need your input in this one. So basically, if you didn't know, in Lost Ark, you have like an account rank. So if I play, let's say, Shadow Hunter, and I'm the top player in the world, I'm number 1, I'm the best player in the entire game, okay? I get the highest rank. And then I say, you know what? I want to try playing a Blade. I want to try playing a Blade. And I suck at Blade. I can tank my Shadow Hunter by playing Blade. Now, the good part about that is that I don't fill multiple spots on the ladder. I don't just take my Shadow Hunter, park it at the highest rank possible, and then I make another one and park it at number 2. I make another one, park it at number 3. That's not going to happen. But you're going to be thinking twice when you want to queue your alt in ranked, because you don't want to tank your main. So I don't know about this one. It's positives and negatives. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this good or bad? You practice your blade in normals, then you take it to ranked. Yeah, true, but you're going to play against, if you're the best in the world, you're going to be insanely high MMR. And then even if you practiced on your blade, you're still going to get stomped at that rating, no? Or make another account since it's free. Wait, true. There you go. The entire Korean ladder. So I think, I'm not sure because I don't really speak Korean, but I think this is their main class. And these are their alts, right? Is that what it is? So this guy is like a scouter main, but he plays scouter, artillerist, and paladin. No, it's not their team. It's your alts. So you'll see people who only play one class, like this guy. See, this guy is a one-trick pony. This is PS0. He plays a Reaper, and that's all he plays. The same as this guy. The Reapers are one-trick ponies. This guy as well. These guys don't even give a shit. They don't even try. These guys don't want to tank their rating. Same as this guy. Demon Hunter, Shadow Hunter. It's the classes they played most games on. Oh, is there top 3? What's the first one then? What is this? Is this the class they played the most on? I want to be an OP Reaper. I really want to play Reaper as well. It looks so cool. It's so insane 1v1s. It's kind of trash in 3s though, but it's so sick. I want to play one for sure. Yeah, the thing is, this game, PvP in this game is not as massive as in WoW. And let's talk about that, I guess. Oh yeah, and the problem here is you can't queue rank with friends, which is kind of sucks. I wish we had both. I wish we had team queue and solo queue. And then the perfect game. Right game. Are you listening? Give us both. The challenge difference. Knowledge versus execution. WoW is more about strategy, positioning, and coordination. I have to say that I've been playing WoW obviously for way longer than I've been playing Lost Ark. This is kind of talking out of my ass a little bit, but I did my research, so I think it's all good. In WoW, kills happen when you coordinate strong CC chains and damage cooldowns, forcing the enemy into a 1v3 situation or overwhelming them with high burst damage. Now, there are multiple win conditions in WoW, which makes the game very interesting in my opinion. However, at high levels, people tend to play more defensively to not lose. People don't play to win, people play to not lose. So some games go on for a very long time. You see this in tournaments. And since you see this in tournaments, you tend to see it on the ladder as well, where people just go behind a pillar and stay there because they wait for dampening. So that's not very good. But I like how you have multiple strategies you can adopt in WoW. You can play something like a rot comp. You can play something like RMP, which doesn't care about anything. I'm just joking. RMP has insane CC and insane burst. Or you can just go full Zug, you know, land a wind shear and just one-tap someone with all your cooldowns up. And the problem is, it's not exactly hard to execute damage in WoW and to execute like rotations and all that. Like the game is pretty simple. It's more about decision making in WoW. But in Lost Ark, it's way more about execution. Way more. This is where I was watching. I was reading a Reddit post, and people were saying Lost Ark is extremely trash to PvP because you just get CC'd for until you die. And this is true and real. True and real. I think, did I write it here? Wait. Yeah, this is next slide. Confusing and punishing CC system. Okay, we'll talk about that soon. Soon. Yeah, beware. In Lost Ark, kills happen in CC chains that every class can perform. Basically, that's how the game works. You catch someone off, you do you do your rotation, you blow them up a little bit, and you either lose over 30% of your HP because that's how the game kind of like makes you immune to abuse, or a teammate helps you out. But if you get caught in CC, you're already fucked up, you know. And this keeps going until 4 minutes run out, making the games have a clear end, which is, thank God, so much better. It makes the game way better, in my opinion, having a clear end compared to freaking half an hour sit behind the pillar, all add-ons going, you know, triple marksman hunters in stealth, DBM pull, one-shot someone, go back in stealth and AFK until they have all their cooldowns. It is what it is. I like the Lost Ark system a lot more, but Lost Ark is definitely more zoomer oriented, more execution, sexecution, hexecution. You know, you gotta be frame perfect. You can counter stuff with other stuff. You need a big brain and you need to be fast. I'm old. I'm gonna suck at this game, but I'll do my best and the game is still fun. Accessibility. Okay, now this looks a lot of red for WoW, but the truth is I've been playing WoW for a long time. So it's like a lot easier for me to see the negatives in WoW than it is to see the negatives in Lost Ark, which is kind of a new game for me. And WoW, before you want to get to the point where you have fun, you gotta do your Torghast. You gotta grind your Covenants. You gotta grind your PvP gear, which requires upgrading, which takes a long time. The PvP gearing system, I think, is really decent if you start off with everyone else. When the season starts, you play and you don't stop playing. It's like a mobile game, you know? You gotta keep playing, keep logged in, and make sure you do all your chores, and then it's fine. But if you fall behind, you're looking at some nasty catch-up. Legendaries, infinite gold. It's hard to find teammates if you are new. Obviously, if you have no XP, no one's gonna want to play with you because all the people playing WoW are just old boomers. There's no new players. If you're a new player, I'm trying to hit 1200 on this new account. I'm ex-multi rank 1. But my account got stolen. Link minimum 2.1 or don't bother. But the positive is there's lots of resources because it's an old ancient boomer game. Everyone's making content on it. I guess it makes sense that PvE abilities mostly do the same as PvE, mostly. Like you can still sheep, you can still do all your CC, your burst works in a similar way, even though the numbers are different. So I guess that's why I put, yeah, hidden scaling. And then skirmish, normal BGs, brawls for practice. It's nice that we have them in, but so does Lost Ark. Has 1v1s, free-for-all, skirmish for practice. That's good. Lost Ark. This, I underline this. This is bad. People who have no idea what this... first time I played Lost Ark, I thought the game was trash. I was getting pissed off like never before. You just get CC'd non-stop. You don't get to play the game. It's bad. If you kind of get how it works, eventually you'll get the point where at least you know why you're getting bullied. But at first, it just feels like you're getting bullied for no reason. It's so bad at first. But again, watch Canon, and there's a bunch of other people that make really good content. TLDR, there's 4 types of CC, and once you get caught in CC, you can't get out. Once you start getting bullied, you already fucked up. You already made a mistake. So once it happens, you're just stuck there until a teammate saves you, or you lose, like, depending on how many people jump on you, you could lose like half your HP or even more. But yeah, you just, yeah, it's not great. So team can help, but you can also carry hard. It's the same for WoW. Rogues in Shadowlands heal more than the actual healers in Lost Ark. Like any DPS in Shadowlands heals more than the actual healers in Lost Ark. And in WoW, yeah, in WoW you die, you lose, so everyone has an infinite cooldowns. In this game, you die, you made a mistake, you go again, you die again. It's your team's fault, your team sucks. You die again, fuck this game, throw the computer out the window, go play Torghast. And this is the most important slide of them all. This is the make it or break it. Which one can you flex harder on the PvE plebs? This is what the game is all about. They're both MMOs, and we all know that this is what it's all about, really. Let's start off with WoW. The Gladiator Chad and the unique mount. And I said, even though BFA has made Gladiator title a lot easier to obtain, a lot of ex-gladiators and sweaty nerds say that it's free. And yes, it's easier, but it's not exactly free. It's still a slow percentage of people that get this far. It's still one of the most sought after achievements in the game. Boosting kind of devalues it. I shouldn't have said this necessarily, because boosting is in every game. I guess I'm one of the sweaty guys. Boosting devalues it a lot, especially after BFA, but it still remains a classic. A rank 1 title for a very small percentage of the player base. This is very iconic. I remember seeing the first gladiator I ever saw. The first gladiator ever in Burning Crusade. It was a rogue, of course, on a Nether Drake. I remember. I didn't even know about the Nether Drake. My brother told me. I inspected him and I saw he had shoulders, and I said, "Wow, this guy has shoulders." I called my brother to show him, and he told me, "No, this guy is gladiator." And I said, "What is that?" And he showed me the mount and the title. Oh, it blew my mind. It was insane. So maybe this is a bit subjective, but yeah, gladiator used to be a big deal. Now in Lost Ark, move camera to show aura, sorry. Lost Ark is not very popular. The PvP is not very popular in Korea and Russia, as far as I know. It's kind of a mini game. Like I said, they don't really update it much. There's no new arena maps. There's nothing that to really shake the game. It's always the same. It's straight up a mini game. You don't care about armor, you don't care about anything. Now this aura looks sick. This is what Stoops, me, Savix, we've all been asking for something like this in WoW. Something more than just a mount. Something to like, anything, like some glyphs exclusive to like, I don't know, PvPers in some way. But imagine if we had like if evocation was at 2100, you get an evocation that is flames instead of a little tornado. Imagine if I don't know, there's so many spells that they don't even use anymore. Like Warrior Execute could be the Ventier thing, like a glyph, just small things like that. And PvEers could get the same. Like I would be very okay with PvEers getting exclusive glyphs for clearing hard content. Lost Ark has some really cool rewards. This aura is the one that you can get, is just participation reward, same as the horse. There's another horse, there's 2 mounts, but they're both just participation rewards, so everyone's gonna get them eventually if they PvP at all. There are 2 more auras, one for Master, one for Grandmaster. There are unique titles for every single rank, just like WoW. There are unique skins, but they're not really that insane. It's just legs, chest, and helmet. They don't even look that crazy. This sick looking, insane looking Super Saiyan God aura, and the other two that you can get from Grandmaster and Master, which is really hard to get. They have rating decay and everything. You can't even use them in most content. You can just use it when you run around the city, which is still cool, but why can't you use it when you raid, man? That would be so sick. So I think at the end of the day, people care more about WoW tryhard achievements. So I think WoW PvP is more established and the rewards stand out more. But again, it could be because Lost Ark PvP scene is not hasn't had the chance to be like popping off really. It's a new game. So we don't know for sure, but in my brain, I think people care more about Gladiator than this Blue Aura. Thoughts? Watch has so much potential for cool things. Exactly. Is this conclusion? Is the next panel conclusion? Soon we get the conclusion. And basically that's what I'm saying as well. WoW could be so insane. As resources invested, I don't even know what this is. The WoW team at least adds new armor. Oh yeah, I talked about this. They add new armor sets, new trinkets, sometimes new arenas, and some class changes when a new season comes out, which is every once a year. Whereas Lost Ark has none of that. Nothing. No new maps, barely any class tuning at this point, for us at least. And it's just purely play PvP for the sake of playing PvP, and except the seasonal rewards at the end of the season and the addition of new classes, there's no real difference between seasons. The games are really fun to get into, they're great, and this leaves us the conclusion, which is obviously very subjective. I'm going to go in the corner here. As I said, I prefer the 4 minutes team deathmatch over the infinite cooldown management and dragged on games that WoW has at the moment. WoW PvP is better established, more popular, and better integrated in the game from an MMO point of view, whereas Lost Ark is a better game to PvP in my opinion. If you just want to play PvP, if you want to just get in and out, get some quick games, Lost Ark has a way higher skill ceiling though. I think Lost Ark skill ceiling, this is obviously subjective. I've been playing WoW for a long time and Lost Ark not for a long time. Lost Ark seems, if you're like a god, if you're like a robot, you can 1v5, I feel like. You're just untouchable if you're really, really good, no? Yeah, the infinite dampening is horrible. Not a big fan. Plus, Lost Ark has solo queue. If you feel like queuing, you just fire up the game, play a bit, get shit on, close the game and uninstall. It's so much simpler. In WoW, you have to log in and stay in LFG for an hour and then uninstall. It's so much worse. You don't even get to play the game. But I said both games have very good potential for tournaments. I was going to add some slide about tournaments, but I realized I don't really know what I'm talking about. I think they're both kind of hard to follow, but I think Lost Ark is easier to follow because at least you see kills. You know, you see how many kills one team has, how many kills the other team has, and you see the timer. So you kind of know who's winning at least. Whereas in WoW, you see people's HP going down, but people who know that they have 50,000 cooldowns left, there's nothing's going to happen for a long time. And I said Lost Ark PvP is not that popular in Korea and Russia, but it remains to be seen if that's going to be the case in the West as well. And my guess is it will be the same. I don't think it's going to pop off that much just because of this reason here. This is the biggest reason. You can't flex on PvE Andes as hard, I think. And that brings us to the end of our presentation, gentlemen.